Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kast. This particular episode of Kast is going to be different from usual, kind of like the previous Kast that we did, where I basically just kind of updated you guys on what had been going down. However, this particular one is even more so different in the fact that it is going to be an extremely long format. At least I think so. As a matter of fact, I think it's probably going to be so long that I'm going to have to split it in a couple of parts. And I've also set up some tea that I can have here in hand so that I can constantly take a couple of sips of it because I feel I'm going to basically strain my throat while doing this particular podcast because, I've got a lot of ground to cover. So before I actually start this particular thing, let me just try to explain to you guys what it actually is. So this is my E3 trip log. So what this means is, while I will be touching on some of the stuff that you will be seeing on the channel on a couple of days, hours, whatever, depends on how fast I can get my hands on the footage and how fast I can edit it, render it, get it ready to go for the channel. I'm going to touch on some of the stuff that you're going to be seeing in the channel in regards to the E3 coverage, but the point of this particular video is to tell you guys about the trip itself and all the stuff that I have done while I was in LA. And before the whole story even starts, I would like to I'm going to leave out a special thank you to a couple of people. Now, I actually didn't write down any names or anything, so I'm just kind of pulling stuff out of my head from the stuff that I still can remember. I do, however, have a pretty lengthy log. Like, if you guys look, I'm not sure how well you can actually see this, but it's like, if I just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, I think you guys can see that there's like tons and tons and tons of text in here. And I'm not going to read you this whole text. I'm just using it kind of as a reference type of thing, so that I can remember what went down. But I'm rambling already. It's just a natural thing in Rurikhan's videos. Oh my God, he's rambling. Oh no, it's the end of the world. But yeah, let's go and hit those thank yous right about now, shall we? So for starters, the first thank you would have to be to Aaron Siminoff of the Game Station, because he really made me feel at home while I was in Los Angeles, and he helped me out a lot. Also, someone else is Jason Serrato, which is someone who was working with the Game Station in order to cover E3, because basically I think that Jason was actually the person I spent the most time with while I was in LA. So that was it was pretty cool hanging out. And the third thank you is to Sandra Pasqua. I mean, there's no real way to really say her name in English. I guess there is if I do the translation of Pasqua, which basically means Easter. So you can call her Sandra Easter, which is interesting because of the way that I actually bumped into her during my trip. It's very, very, very interesting indeed. Trust me, I think you guys are gonna like this, those of you who are interested in knowing about all the crazy stuff that I did. But yeah, I would really like to really thank those three particular people, because they really helped me out during my trip. It was amazing. I mean, there was a lot more people that helped me out and were amazing during the trip. It's just those three really stuck out, because I mean, I also just need to thank pretty much everyone at Maker Studios, because I mean, they pretty much were amazing all around. I mean, everyone I knew from Maker Studios was just amazing. They just made me feel really welcome while I was down in LA. And as a matter of fact, something that I was thinking, it's like, man, if I had a chance to just friggin' go down there and just work there like forever, man, I'd leave now. Like, I'd leave the camera recording and like, bye guys, I'm going to LA, I'm done, peace. Yeah, it was that good. It was that good. I was that welcomed in LA that I'd leave today if I had a chance to go work there. But anyways, that's besides the point. I just want to leave a couple of thank yous before I actually started the whole thing. But now let's get started with the story itself, the story of my trip to E3. So, if you guys remember, in most of my videos, I kept saying most likely videos that you guys will still see going up, because I mean, before I left for E3, I made videos all the way up until the 21st of June, so that I would then have the time to mess around with any footage that I brought back from E3, and would still have videos going up if I wasn't able to produce content for a specific day. So you guys will still hear me talk about this maybe in videos up to the 21st of June. But as most of you guys are aware, I had said that most of my trip had been planned by Portugal Gaming. And you guys are most likely familiar with Portugal Gaming because I've promoted the crap out of them in the past. And I've worked with them in the past to have access to exclusive stuff like the God of War Ascension interview, the Last of Us interview. So, I mean, you know, I pretty much trusted the people at Portugal Gaming. So let me try and explain to you guys what happened before the trip. So before the trip, I mean, the whole week before it was actually time to leave, because the thing we had planned, me and one person from Portugal Gaming, who is like the head of Portugal Gaming, if you can call it that, because I mean, I think most of the people in Portugal Gaming are doing pro bono work, but there's obviously someone who is above everyone else in every organization. So, but anyways, I was going to E3, right? This was my plan for like a long time. Like I'm going to E3 this year. I had this thing already like kind of figured out that I was going there. So I once mentioned it to the Portugal Gaming guys, and I said, look, I'm going to go down to E3 and this and that. And they were saying that, that one person, the head of Portugal Gaming, was saying that he was going to get me access to all this kinds of exclusive stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's rad. That's pretty cool, because I mean, if I have access to even more exclusive stuff while I'm there, I'm going to be able to report on even more stuff than I would if I didn't have that particular access. And so we kept on talking about it, and after a couple of days or something, he said, well, I'm going to go down there with you. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So there's going to be two of us there covering stuff. I mean, more people, more coverage, right? That was my thought. And so we start talking like kind of details, like, so what do we got planned? We need to set up like plane rides. We need to set up hotels, all this stuff. And I also got some advice from my father, and he's like, man, you should just like get a travel agency to do all that stuff for you. And so when I was talking with him about it, he just said, oh, I know this travel agency here near where I live, so I'll just work it out with them, and I'll plan the whole thing. And I was like, oh, great, you're going to plan the whole thing? That's just perfect. So he was planning the whole thing. And he said, instead of the regular industry badges, which is what Maker Studios was going to get me if I went down, he said, oh, we're actually going to get media badges instead, which is a lot cooler than industry badges, because it gives you access to more stuff, and then people know that you're actually media, as opposed to, let's say, a clerk from GameStop or something. And, you know, basically it's like a higher tier of badge. You have access to a higher tier of services. So I'm like, yeah, that's pretty rad. That's going to be amazing. And he then starts like saying, I'm setting up all these meetings and dinners and all this stuff with Nintendo, with Sony, with Microsoft, and we're going to have access to all this amazing stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. So things start evolving in that direction until the week prior to the time when we were supposed to leave to E3. We were supposed to leave for E3 on the 8th of June. So on that previous week to the 8th of June, I had been trying to get a hold of him every single day, because there was still like nothing really set in stone. He said he had already booked the flights. He said he had already booked the hotel. He said everything was taken care of. And I was like, well, then I'm just relaxing, I'm just getting ready. I'm just making sure I have all my gear and all my stuff set up so that we can just go there and hit E3 as hard as possible. I was also looking up microphones. As you guys know from the last video, Sidestrife actually got me a microphone for the camera and whatnot. So the microphone was delivered in America and everything, just to be ready so that when we got there, the microphone will already be there for us to work with. And, just everything was set up. Everything was good to go. I loaned a laptop from my father so that I'd be able to use laptop for whatever I needed it to make. I mean, I was even considering editing stuff while I was down in LA. I mean, that's the way that I was looking at things. So, I mean, I have everything set up on my end, everything good to go. And now it's Friday, so the 7th of June, and I still haven't heard a single thing from him. And I mean a single thing, almost all week. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, the guy's not giving me any details. The only thing I know at this point is he told me we're leaving at 10:45 on Saturday on a United Airlines flight. We leave from Lisbon and we go to New York. And from New York, we're going to go to LA. These are the details that I have. And then he also tells me the name of the hotel that we're going to be staying in. And I was like, okay, this sounds, kind of good. I didn't even pay for anything, which now that I think about it, should have been just a dead giveaway that I hadn't paid for a single thing yet. And he was saying no, it's fine. I've already paid for it. You'll hit me back later. It's going to be fine and whatever. And I'm like, okay. I mean, here's the thing though. I have no reason not to trust this person, right? Because and for all I know, he's being completely honest. It's just at this point, let me just continue this story because you guys will get it. The thing is, I just didn't have any reason to be suspicious because he got me into the God of War Ascension press conference and he got me into the Last of Us press conference. So, I'm just fully trusting this guy. And yeah, so basically I wasn't able to really reach him throughout the whole week. So we didn't really had anything set up in terms of schedule, in terms of interviews, in terms of everything Nothing at all was set up. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm going ballistic. I'm going through the roof at this point because I'm getting ready to go to the USA to cover one of the biggest things in gaming, which is E3, in a year that they're actually going to announce 2 new consoles, and I've got nothing. I don't even know the flight details or anything. So Friday, I stay up until 2:30 a.m. And it's the original plan was that I was supposed to meet him at the airport sometime at, let's say, 7:30 or something. So I go to bed at 2:30 and I'm just fully prepared to go on with the plan, just meet him at the airport and whatever. So I go to bed. I wake up at 6, I believe was when I woke up, or was it 5:30? I don't know. I woke up pretty damn early. Let's just put it like that, because I was ready to be at the airport at 7:30 to go on and check in and do all that other jazz. And when I wake up, I come to my computer and I look at Skype, and apparently a family member of his, I guess, or someone who had access to his Skype account, leaves a message saying that the guy had an anxiety attack because of malnourishment. The phrasing on that particular thing, on that particular message was very, very weird. It's he had an attack of, but basically I think what they meant to say is that he had an anxiety attack due to malnourishment. And I'm just like, what? And then it's on the message it also says, he's going to have to stay away from computers, consoles, cell phones, everything for 10 days. Oh, and he also lost his cell phone because I had been calling him on his cell phone nonstop for the previous 3 days, trying to, get a hold of him to actually specify some planning or something. And yeah, that message is thrown in there. And that message was actually posted exactly 1 hour after I went to bed, which is kind of weird, wouldn't you say? Someone, just I've been trying to reach this guy for the past 3 days. And then all of a sudden it's 1 hour after I go to bed, there's a message there. It's something doesn't add up. I'm just looking at this And I'm kind of a suspicious guy by nature, and it's just I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is bullshit. This is just straight up bullshit. The guy just screwed me over for whatever reason, because I mean, let's face it, I was doing pro bono work for Portugal Gaming. I was doing video coverage for Portugal Gaming. I was editing podcasts. I was editing audio and mastering audio to make sure that the podcast sounded as good as they possibly could on fucking crappy microphones from 10 years ago, you know? And it's like I was doing all of this stuff for free because I wanted to do videos in my native language as well. I wanted to have like a Portuguese project thing on the side just to kind of like, you know, I have my channel, I have my thing. It's kind of stable at this point. So it's like I also want to, you know, I have this thing that I always have to keep evolving. It's like if I'm just standing still, like on the same place, doing the same thing all the time, you're not evolving. You're just staying there, and I don't even know what to call that. It's like watching paint dry. You're like stuck in a routine. So I'm always trying to chase new projects and doing new things. It's just in my blood. I think I picked that up from my father for some reason. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I didn't really thank my father. Then again, he doesn't really watch these videos, but in the thank you section, there should have been like above everyone else, there should have been a big thank you to my father for something that he did, which you guys will find out in a couple of minutes. Now that I think about it, man, it's just, I just got back yesterday and my head is still like, it's not even jet lag. It's just, I'm completely, I don't know. I'm not even tired. It's just, I'm slightly dizzy and I keep forgetting stuff, which is why I kind of wrote down this massive trip log to see if I would not miss a damn thing. But yeah, let's go back to the whole story point because I'm, yet again, rambling. So basically, the guy apparently is screwing me over, and it's 6 a.m., and I'm just like, what the fuck am I going to do now? I mean, I can't just cancel E3 because I already told people at Maker that I was going to be there, and it's like I basically am going to look like someone who doesn't honor his word at this point if I come up with some kind of bullshit excuse like, oh, the guy that was going to go with me got sick, and so I'm not actually going to go to E3. So all the stuff that you guys have been doing for me in the background, because they were still going to get me an industry pass regardless of whether or not I was going to get a media pass, because Aaron just kind of insisted on it. He was like, look, I'm going to get you an industry pass, okay? If you get a media badge, that's even better. If you don't get a media badge, at least you'll have the industry badge here. So Maker was already doing stuff for me while I was still in Portugal. So it's like I had said, look, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to do this thing. And, you know, basically, I'm the kind of guy that I keep my word, okay? When I say I'm going to do something, unless something really crazy happens, I'm going to do it. And it's like at this point, I'm thinking, if I say anything like this, like, oh, the guy that I was going with had this disease and I can't go anymore because whatever, it's like, I'm just going to look bad. I mean, regardless if I wasn't even going to look bad, I just don't want to be that guy, you know? So I'm thinking this through in my head, and I'm like, so what the fuck am I going to do now? What the hell can I do to fix this? Not to mention that also I had like all these videos that I had done that were going to go on my channel. And in all these fucking videos, I am saying I'm probably at E3 right now, or I'm going to E3 on the 8th. And I'm just saying all this stuff about E3. I mean, how am I going to look if then I just come to my channel and say, oh, turns out I actually didn't go to E3 after all because I had a problem. I mean, you know what I mean? I just had all these things already in line for E3. I mean, I even had the microphone already being delivered to America because I thought I was going to be there on the 8th, you know? So I'm thinking all this stuff through my head, and I'm like, there's no way that I can't go to E3. I have to go to E3. I don't give a fuck. I have to go to E3. I told these people I was going. I'm going. I'm committed. And that's all there is to it. So immediately I remember, okay, so he said we were going with United Airlines. So if you make a reservation, first of all, you have to leave the person's name with the airline and all that stuff. So if you make a reservation, your name or the name of the people that are going with you is going to show up on the passenger list of a flight. I mean, that's all there is to it, because that's the way these things are. It's electronics. I mean, it's all about computers. So if you book a flight, your name is going to show up on a passenger list. So for starters, I go look at schedules. He said, we're leaving at 10:45. So the first glitch I found in all this stuff that he had been telling me is United Airlines planes actually do not leave at 10:45. They leave at 10:25. And I'm like, well, I guess it's not such a big deal. So then I go and I'm like, okay, so I phone United Airlines and I'm like, okay, so you guys have a reservation for me in this particular flight that's going to go to New York, and from New York it's going to go to Los Angeles. And the guy's like, nope, we got nothing. And I'm like, oh, how about this person? I give his name from the Portugal gaming guy. How about this person? Is there a ticket in his name? And he's like, nope. And at this point I'm like, that's weird. So I pick up the phone and I'm like, okay, so let's see. Who goes out at 10:45? US Airways. Okay, maybe it's booked through here. But US Airways doesn't go through New York. US Airways actually goes through Philadelphia. I'm like, this is weird. So I call US Airways. Is there a reservation with my name for today's flight? Nope. Is there a reservation for any flight? Nope. Okay. Now I'm getting really confused. I mean, because like I said, if he had made the reservations, I would still be able to get on the plane and go. And so then I pick up the phone and I call the hotel, international call. Call the hotel. Oh, so is there a reservation in this name? Nope. Is there a reservation in this name? Nope. Is there a reservation in Portugal Gaming? No. Okay, so there's no flights, there's no hotel. And I'm thinking at this point, well, then there's probably fucking nothing. And this is Saturday, okay? It's Saturday the 8th. The thing starts on the 10th, like the press conferences start on the 10th. And I'm like, well, that's it. I got to take a plane and I got to find a plane. I got to find a hotel. I got to, work all that stuff out. So I call my father and I'm like, I need some help because he travels a lot more than I do. So he knows a lot more about that kind of stuff than I do. So I'm like, I need some help. This thing happened and it's like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Like the guy has no reason to do something like this to me. So I just have no idea what's going on. So my father says, well, for starters, you need to get a visa. And I'm like, visa? Nobody told me anything about a goddamn visa to go to America. But it's like, yeah, you need to get like an ESTA visa or whatever. I'm like, okay. So I start working on that. I start working on getting a visa. Visa goes through, instantly approved. It's like you have to pay $14 or something. Visa goes through, instantly approved. Okay, I got my visa. So now you got to book the flight. So I book a flight. It's like, since I can't find his flight, I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Fuck it. I'll get my own damn flight. Book a flight. And it was really cool because US Airways actually takes PayPal. So I didn't even have to transfer money to the bank or anything. It was just straight from PayPal into US Airways. So I buy the flight and I'm taking the flight with US Airways to Philadelphia, and from Philadelphia to Los Angeles, and then Los Angeles to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia to Portugal again. And that's kind of how I did things. So the flight's purchased at this point. And I'm like, okay, so this is it. Because now I'm committed. It's like, there's no going back. I already bought the plane tickets. So now I have to find a hotel. So I go and I start looking for hotels, and I call Aaron once again, international call, so a whole bunch of more expenses on me. I call Aaron and I'm like, look, man, you need to help me find a hotel or something. I'm just in complete desperation mode here because it's like, I got nothing. And it's like on the day that I was supposed to leave for E3, and I have absolutely zilch. But I'm going to E3. I don't give a fuck. So my flight was already booked for the 9th. So I had to find a hotel that could have me there for the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. And on the 14th, I was going to leave. And yeah, my Saturday was not a fun time. Let me tell you that. Anyways, I then realized something, which is I don't have any business cards. And you need business cards if you're going to a place like E3 because you're going to have to, exchange contacts with people and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay. I grab some of the art that Sidestrafe made for my channel, and I mock up a business card. I'm trying to see if I have one here. I actually don't. So I don't actually, wait, maybe I do. Maybe I do have one handy. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. So this is a business card. I'm not sure if you guys can actually see any of the information in there. Not that it's any secret or anything. I don't really care. But anyways, it looks like this. Like orange on the front, kind of like the logo on my channel. And it's like dark gray on the back with a dwarven logo. So anyways, I hope you guys didn't really see at least my phone number because that would suck. But anyways, doesn't matter. So I work up one of these cards, right? And then I'm like, okay, this looks like kind of cool. At least it's acceptable, and I have something to give away to people when I'm at the floor. So I go to this place. I have like 100 of those things made. So now I have cards, and I'm coming back, and it's just like more hotel and hotel struggle. And here's the thing. After like the whole day, basically, which is what I spent the whole day doing, was trying to find a hotel. After the whole day trying to find a hotel, I came to the conclusion that I had three options. I would either stay in a hotel that was really far away from the convention in a city that I pretty much have never been before. So I would not know transportation. I would not know if cab drivers would try to rip you off. I would not know even if I rented the car, I probably would not be able to drive it because I don't think my license is valid in America. So basically, that was option number one. Stay really far away from the convention and work some way to go to the convention. Option number two was stay in really, and I mean really, bad hotels. Like hotels where they might even like just straight up steal my shit when I was not in the room. And option number three was just go to a really expensive hotel. So I'm pondering all these three options, and my father tells me, look, you're going to take the expensive route, and I'm going to pay for it. And I'm just eating away at myself inside because, I'm so pissed off because if the Portugal gaming guy had said nothing, I would have planned this whole thing by myself, and there would be absolutely no need for me to spend ridiculous amounts of money on a hotel simply because it was so fucking short notice. And here's the thing. It's like, what am I going to do? This is a city that I've never really been to. Like, I've been there when I was maybe 15 or something for 5 minutes. So this is like a city that I've never really been to. And it's like, am I going to really stay far away from the convention? Is that like a viable option? Like, am I going to have to, oops, sorry about that. Am I going to have to find some form of transportation to the convention every single day and have God knows how many hours of commute back and forth? Am I going to stay at a really bad hotel where people can just straight up steal my shit? Or am I going to take my father's offer? I mean, be honest. What would you have done? I took my father's offer and he paid for my hotel. I really don't want to talk numbers because it's still really bad for me to talk about that kind of stuff because let me just tell you, it was really, really unreasonably expensive. Okay? Let's just say that I had a budget for my trip, right? The budget that I had planned out in my head for everything, plane tickets, all that stuff. The fact that I had to stay in that hotel more than doubled that budget. And I mean really just more than doubled it. It almost tripled the budget that I had for my trip. And that pissed me off. That just straight up pissed me off because look, it's okay. Someone's trying to dick you over. That's fine. Whatever. It's ha 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 ha. It's really, really funny. Whatever, dude. Whatever gets you off. But if that causes me to basically, I mean, I didn't have to spend a whole lot of money. My father had to spend a whole lot of money. If that causes someone to actually lose out on a whole bunch of money, it's not that funny anymore. It's actually pretty fucking serious. And yeah, it seriously, seriously pissed me off. So that's what ended up happening. I ended up going anyways. And the next thing that happened actually made me realize that sometimes things happen and life throws you a couple of curveballs and you just have to kind of deal with it, right? And sometimes things just happen for a reason. So the next day, because I mean, at this point, I've already took my father upon his offer. I booked the hotel and I'm just eating away at myself inside.